We are live at the Go-House, Brooklyn, New York. Jim Gaffigan, Sarah Silverman, Eugene Mirman, our comedic panel. And I've got with me my friend and colleague, David Grinspoon. Dave, thanks for coming up for this.
Oh, thanks for having me. This is a blast.
Yeah. I'm your host, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Agreed.
So, David, it was page one story. An SUV-sized rover was plunked down on Mars. Like, what's up with that?
Well, we're really glad it made it.
I was scared. I said, this is not gonna work.
Yeah.
Right, because you go 9 months, and then it wasn't just the airbags like the old ones did, right? That was scary, but I got accustomed to the airbag landing. This one, it had like heat shields, and then a hypersonic drogue chute, and then retro rockets, and then a hoist crane. It was something Rube Goldberg would have designed, and I'm thinking, I don't want Rube Goldberg on Mars.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, with his okay videos.
Yeah.
Why don't you just say what you mean? No Jews on Mars.
Yeah.
Let's make that T-shirt. I would wear it.
Why does it have to be an SUV? I mean, I wish they would do something a little better for the environment. You know?
Well, the last one was a Mini Cooper.
Electric?
But
I hope.
Well, the last one was solar. This one's got nukes.
Yeah, those
But-
suck.
So tell me about this one. So first of all, how confident were you? You're an expert on this stuff. How confident were you that this whole sequence of landing devices would work?
I wasn't confident at all. I was shitting bricks. The thing is, I'm on the science side of this thing. So we've got our instruments. We want to get them onto the surface of Mars and go to interesting places so we can learn things. And the engineering side of it, those guys tell us, don't worry, this will work. And then we say, so how are you going to do it? And they describe this thing, it's going to come in at hypersonic velocity and make these S-turns and then drop off the heat shield, and there's a parachute, and it's going to fire these rockets, and then it's going to stop 50 meters up and hover and drop things down on this swinging crane.
On a hoist.
And we're like, you got to be kidding me, that's not going to work. And it was scary. We were scared. I was not confident at all. And
This sounds literally more complicated than making Avatar. Just to put it in perspective.
and even more expensive, if you can believe that.
Barely. Wow. So what did you say, like twice the cost of Avatar?
Actually, it was about 10 times the cost of Avatar. Now,
But it
you
landed
tell me
Times
if
Square.
it's worth 10 times as much as Avatar.
I'm going to say yes.
I think we should measure everything in terms of the cost of Avatar.
Yeah, this drink is just like a fifth Avatar.
Yeah, it's like...
We call that the AU, the Avatar unit.
Avatar unit. Yeah. All right, so this.
They should be their money. Oh, sorry, I got it. I thought the tag a beat too late.
It's like Thanksgiving
It
dinner
won't
up
hold
here.
up
I don't
now.
want to interrupt.
Their money should be called ICUs because it's like IC.
Hey, no, Sarah, she's gonna kill herself. Clap.
Let the radio audience know that Sarah just dropped her microphone.
Yeah. So it landed on the Mars place.
So it lands.
Back to where we were.
Wait, did you know that I had a private Twitter conversation with the rover just before it landed? Did you know this?
And
What do you mean?
I don't think it was the rover.
Excuse me, I had a relationship.
Meaning you tweeted the rover and the rover was like, "Hi, Neil."
The rover tweeted.
You know what? It was probably just some old guy pretending to be the rover.
it was like, can't talk now. Can't talk now. I'm about to go through 7 minutes of terror.
76 rockets
There
have
was
to
a
fire
Van
in weird
Halen video
directions.
all about that.
So in there I had to, because you were mentioning this tension between the scientists and engineers, one of my last two questions was, who do you like better, scientists or engineers?
You asked the rover this.
I asked this of the rover.
Oh. And what did she say?
Yeah, it's a she. It's a she, actually.
Sure it is.
Scientists have to build a lady and send it to Mars. That's how they fall in love.
So it's there in the Twitter history. You'll see it. She said she would not pick between the two. that they are both important to her life.
She loves us both.
She loves us both, yes. So it worked. It landed. Nothing went wrong?
Almost nothing went wrong.
What went wrong?
Well,
Helicopter crashed into the wall.
no, it actually
Martians.
it was
Eugene
remarkably.
never has to worry about getting laughs because
It was
he
remarkably
laughs.
free. Yeah. Remarkably free of glitches. There was a lot
Actually,
of.
I did my very last question to Curiosity, which is her name, was
That's such a stripper name.
She sounds very curious.
What's your favorite?
so I asked her.
Curiosity.
I said,
You typed to her. You didn't ask
I have an 8-year-old son named Josh. He's my world. Do you want to have a party?
Like you're at a bar at happy hour. So I say
so
to
I
her, I
said, suppose a
say,
Martian crawls out from under a rock, climbs on your back, and rides you like a rodeo bull. She said, that was not in my briefings. That was the answer. I'm just saying.
Well, it's funny. We wouldn't actually know if there was life on Mars if it was just hiding up behind the camera right there on top of the rover.
It would have to be completely moving behind the camera.
So there might be a practical Joker Martian riding around, being like, humans, no, I'm here, humans, no.
Could be.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
All right, so you got, I last count, it was like 10 experiments on this thing. 10? What's your favorite among them?
Well, I'm a little bit partial because I'm part of one of the instrument teams. I helped propose and design and.
So by partial you mean you're
justify.
biased?
I'm biased.
Okay, so which one is that? Which one are
And
you-
it's not the one. I mean, obviously, the obvious thing to say is the cameras, because the cameras are so cool, because we all want to see, and it's beautiful and it's amazing, and it's part of it's just sightseeing. But our instrument is called RAD, and it is RAD. It's the radiation assessment detector, and we are measuring for the first time.
Is that what RAD
how
stand
much?
for?
It is what it stands for.
I invented that 10 years ago. Sorry to tell you.
No, we're measuring how much radiation there's on the surface of Mars, which has never been measured before, and is one of the things that would possibly kill you and possibly kill Martian bugs. So we want to characterize it and see what it's doing in the soil and in the atmosphere and so forth.
So that's not measuring anything about Mars itself. It's just stuff that's coming to Mars.
Well, but it's doing stuff to Mars.
When you say Martian bugs,
Oh, you don't know about that?
You say
I'm not saying there aren't Martian bugs. I'm just saying, are there Martian bugs?
Well,
And then also, are they attacking us?
well, that was a slip. There are no Martian bugs.
No,
Are there?
isn't there like microscopic life of some kind?
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out. And
Wait, but the RAD detector would tell you whether the radiation flux would sterilize the surface and kill all bugs.
exactly, it's probably if there's bugs, microbes, whatever on Mars, they're underground because on the surface there's no water, there's ultraviolet, it's freezing, it's
Sounds
nasty.
terrible.
But underground there might be water, it's a little more reasonable temperature, and you're shielded from the radiation. But what we're trying to figure out is how deep do you have to be if you're a Martian bug? What's happening to the radiation? And the thing to do is to measure it at the surface, and then you
Oh,
can
so if it's
figure
very
it out.
heavy on the surface, you got to go a little deeper to get the bugs.
And did you
How
guys
deep
already
is your
have?
bug? Sorry.
How deep is-
Sometimes it's just wordplay.
You know what? This is really awkward. I just realized now that we weren't talking about the Mars candy bar. And
I'll send the memo earlier next time.
Have you already
Thanks.
figured out the radiation? Do you have the answer? And you're just not telling us because you're a big jerk?
Essentially, yes. We have data, but we haven't released it yet. But it's not just because we're jerks. It's because we're trying to figure out if it's right. And there's some tricky things. Like there is this. We mentioned this nuclear power source that puts out a lot of radiation. So we have to make sure we're not just measuring that.
Wait,
And
so you have a
to-
nuclear power plant on the rover?
It's not a power plant. It's a power source.
Ooh. You know, my favorite moment in any day is when Neil is wrong about something scientific. It's just literally a joy to see his mustache get angry.
Okay,
No. No, we're touchy about this because when you use the nuclear word, people get sometimes upset. I wouldn't have any idea why.
It's one of the two verboten N-words.
That's right. That's right. So when we use that N-word, we try to speak carefully. And it's not like a nuclear power plant with the cooling towers and the turbines and all that. It's a bunch of plutonium that's given off heat, and we use that to generate
So
electricity.
you found another thing to call it to not spook people when it's launched.
Yeah.
Okay.
We call it the not scary big power thing. Yeah.
Oh, it's one of those good, safe nuclear power plants.
The clean power source.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you wouldn't put it in the drinking water of humans.
Well, no.
But Martians would.
They're idiots.
Why do you need nukes? Did other landers have nukes? I don't think so.
No. Well, the thing is, this lander has more than 10 times as much scientific instrumentation than anything we've sent
So
to
it
the
needs
surface
more
of Mars.
power.
Needs more power, as Kirk would say to Scotty, I need more power. And it can run at night, it can run in any season, and it should be
Well, the
able to
other
run.
ones had solar panels. They can only run in the daytime.
Oh.
I didn't know that.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So this could work in the fall.
Wait. You have solar panels. Couldn't you charge a battery and keep working at night?
To some degree you can, but in the Martian winter, the amount of power goes down. If your solar panels get covered with dust,
So the Martian
you
winter, the
start
sun
to,
is very low in the sky.
Yeah, and in fact, one of them did die because of the winter because it
One
got.
of the two rovers.
Yeah, if the power goes down enough so that you can't run the heaters at night, then you die. That already happened to one of our previous rovers. So if you want to do a lot of science, you want a lot of power, a lot of instrumentation, you want to last a long time and be able to rove anywhere on Mars. then-
Send nukes.
Exactly.
That's exactly what happened
Yeah.
there. Okay, just so we understand.
Yes.
Now here's one of the experiments. I happen to like the name of the alpha proton X-ray spectrometer. I mean, you gotta love the sound of that. That sounds like something in Batman's utility belt.
Yeah.
It does sound. It sounds like something to get you pregnant.
It sounds like 70s version of the future speak.
Yes.
Yes.
Not the alpha proton X-ray spectrometer.
Why, yes.
Batman.
Yeah.
So what does that do for us?
With the alpha proton X-ray spectrometer,
You must get so
we
much.
have a little.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Last night Eugene told me not to swear, and then I was joking, and I was like, "Can I say?"
You get so much pudding.
And then I completely
It's
just
true.
forgot and did
Yeah.
it.
No, you get a lot of pudding
Almost.
because you can go up to any rock and go, "Hey, babe." You zap it with X-rays, and you look at the pattern of what comes back, and it tells you what the minerals are made out of, what's in that rock, how much iron it is. It's a way of basically probing the
Rocks. Not to get too scientific with you.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's a way of probing
Well,
rocks for the minerals
yeah, well,
inside them.
We want to know what the rocks are made out of because we want to know what the story is
How to
about
have sex with them.
the history of that place. Well, that's a way to break the ice, yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was helping.
All right, so let me ask you something. So I'm just looking at this, how many cameras the thing has and how many, and it landed where on Mars? Because there's a lot of places to go. So you pre-picked a spot.
Yeah, we landed in a place called Gale Crater.
I've been there. It's nice.
He does tour a lot.
It's nice. I actually named it after a friend of mine, Gail.
Gail.
It's not funny, she's dead. Killed by a Martian, I might add.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's by far the coolest place we've ever landed on Mars because
Because Mr. Universe has been there.
I've been
yes.
some cooler places.
so back me up here. It's a cool place, right? Because it's an ancient crater that used to be a lake and has all these sediments in it that tell us about the ancient past on Mars. And it's got a 5 kilometer, that's 3 miles for you Americans, 3 mile high mountain in the middle of it that we're gonna climb up. And it's like going up the Grand Canyon on Mars. Every layer is from a different time in Martian history. It's gonna tell us the whole story.
So it's not just a mountain that lifted up surface material. It has laid bare its layers.
Well, it looks that way. It looked that way from orbit, and now we're seeing it in the distance as we start to approach it. And it's like Utah. It's just all these layers and canyons and juicy stuff.
A lot of Mormons on Mars. Vote for whoever you want.
All right, so
If I have my way, next summer there's going to be a Hilton in that crater.
all right, so you've got this crater. What's the diameter of the crater, approximately?
It's about a couple hundred kilometers across. It's a big crater.
So like a huge stadium sized.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's big for a rover, but
Very huge stadium.
Are you comparing something that's hundreds of kilometers to a stadium for some reason?
no, sorry, I'm thinking hundreds of meters. Sorry, you said hundreds of kilometers.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Is it as nice as the
Off by-
Meadowlands?
So it's like the size of like 9 million Keystone Arenas.
The old and the new Meadowlands.
It's a big crater.
I was off by 1,000. All right,
Who is it?
Happens all the time.
it happens all the time. So all right, so you go 50, 100 million miles to Mars and land in a crater that's 100 miles across. That's pretty good. So that's a really good hole in one.
Yeah, not only that, we actually landed in a landing ellipse, which is sort of the area that you shoot for, that was only about 15 miles across. And that's a first, that we've been able to control our landing to that extent with that crazy cockamamie landing
So that's what the
system.
engineers did for you.
Exactly.
Otherwise, an airbag would just bounce its way out of the crater and it would be no good to you.
But that's why we're able to land in a much more interesting place than we ever landed before, because before you needed a landing ellipse. So we've actually picked the most boring places on Mars to land before because you want to be safe. So you pick somewhere really flat. But you want to go to the mountains, the canyons, the craters, but we haven't dared do that before. Now we were
Because now you got to go
good
to that
enough.
little flat area between the mountain
Exactly.
and the valley.
And this is the first time we've been able to do that. And so now we can see these mountains in the distance and we're going to get to them. We've never been to a place like that on Mars
How many times
before.
have we landed on Mars before?
Oh, let's see. Successfully or? We've tried.
I believe in yes.
Let's see.
No, how many times have we sent the thing and it just hit the sun? Yes.
5. I guess we've had, 5 successful landings before? 2 Vikings,
Two
2
Vikings.
Mers. No.
No,
Sojourner,
two Vikings, Sojourner.
Phoenix, so 6.
No, wait.
Am I missing
Two
something?
Vikings,
2 Vikings, Sojourner,
Sojourner,
Phoenix, 2 Mers.
2 Mers, 7.
So far,
this
you're
is the
just
7th.
naming
Yeah.
comic book characters.
Yeah. So this is number 7, but we've had a lot. We've had as many attempts and the Russians had dozens of attempts that went. Psh.
They have a failed government.
Well, but they did better at Venus.
It's all Putin's fault.
They did better at Venus.
Yeah. Mars is for Venus.
They're
Where
also
are they gonna
communists.
send
No,
the band called
Russians are
Riot?
from
Venus comes later.
Russians are from
people.
Venus. Americans from Mars.
We'll get to Venus. We'll get to Venus.
Yeah, I don't
So-
mean to bring up Venus. My bad.
I'm sorry. Don't go getting all venereal on me.
Yeah.
So remind me.
That's the technical scientific name.
Yeah.
Pervs.
Nerd bros.
So what's the warranty on the Curiosity rover?
Well, we've been pretty unreliable with our warranties before, but this one's supposed to last 2 years.
2 years.
I mean, we've been unreliable in that they usually last longer. So
So the engineers really did it on purpose, so you can genuflect in front of them next time.
the MERS, the last rovers, were supposed to
MERS
last 90
is-
days.
MER-
Mars exploration rovers.
Thank
The last 2 rovers were supposed to last 90 days. One of them still going 8 years later. Now these are supposed to last 2 years, but the power source will last more than 10. And so we don't want to get overconfident, but potentially we could be there a long time.
So let's go down the list of the cool things that Mars has in common with Earth. What's the top of your list? I have my list too. We'll compare them. What's the top of your list?
Shouldn't we
What
start with
Mars
Jim?
has in common.
Jim!
Well,
They just, one of my favorite parts of Mars is they just
Yeah.
put a Shake Shack in there.
I would
The
say.
line, there's no line. It's like you just, whenever you want to go, you're like, all right, I'm going to go now.
It takes 2.5 years to get there, but there
Yeah.
are no lines.
There's no line. They have like a camera set up. You can check it online and see if there's going to be no line.
Pre-order it. Yeah.
Yeah. I would have to say the coolest thing is the riverbeds. They're dried up, but they speak to us of flowing water, which is something we like a lot. So there's dried up riverbeds. There's volcanoes.
And
those are
they
pretty cool.
meander.
They meander.
Yeah, so you
they-
knew some
they-
slow-moving
And
water.
the
was there.
rivers were water. I mean, so there was water on Mars.
Yes.
There was.
Well, how do you know it was water and not like liquid ammonia?
Well, at one point when we just had pictures from orbit, people said, well, they look a lot like rivers, but could it be ammonia? Could it be liquid CO2?
You're sure it's
Whatever.
not Diet Dr. Pepper? You're sure?
Yeah, well,
Wait, could this
it
be
could have
like a
been.
post-apocalyptic?
But-
Mars could be in a post-apocalyptic state where there was life.
Well, that's what this guy Percival Lowell. That's basically what he said. 100 years ago. So, you should talk
So
to him.
basically,
but-
we're equal.
Yeah.
You know,
but
Sarah really reminds me of this
I
guy
wonder if
Percival
there's
Lowell.
yeah,
we
no,
can
I
learn
mean
from the
that was a theory that Mars was sort of a dying civilization, and that's where the rivers came from. But people thought, well, how do you know it's water? But now that we've been there with these other rovers, that was the main finding, the exciting thing. We found rocks on the surface, minerals that are only made by flowing water. So we've kind of nailed that one with the last rovers.
I thought it was only made by standing water.
Yes, well, standing and we found signs of standing and flowing because there's ripple marks.
So, no, you can make minerals out of flowing water?
Standing water.
Right, standing water. Okay.
Watching you two talk makes me feel
but-
so dumb.
No, but
See, I thought you were going to say that it makes you feel
Alive.
yeah.
oh, alive. Yeah,
Are you-
sure. Okay.
Yeah. No, we found this stuff called
Titillated? Is that what
jarosite.
you-
These sulfur minerals that there's no way to make them. We don't know of any way to make them other than sort of precipitating out of water.
Oh, I actually teach like an adult ed class on how to make minerals out of
See?
in different ways. But
Yeah.
whatever, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, he knows.
So I like
Wednesday.
I like the polar ice caps. You gotta love the ice cap. We got ice caps. They got ice caps. Mars rotates in 24 hours. We rotate in 24 hours, right? Well, actually, not quite 24 hours. What's the exact
Well,
rotation?
Mars is slightly slower. It's like a half an hour longer in the day, which is strange.
So the people studying Mars, are they on Earth time or on Mars time?
They're on Mars time. I actually was out there last week.
Out where?
At JPL.
On Mars?
I'm not on Mars. Well,
Okay.
I was at the
Half
Jet.
hour more for partying in Mars,
The Jet
you know
Propulsion
that.
Laboratory in Pasadena, where we're running the rover from, and the day is on Mars time, which changes compared to California time, and it's really an odd
Wait,
experience.
Mars time isn't the same as California time?
Well, sometimes it is, but it sweeps past.
4 hours out of the day.
It slows down by half an hour a day, which is convenient if you're stuck in traffic. But actually, it's very weird because it gets to the point where it's completely the opposite. And it's fine if you're, a grad student or whatever, and you're just doing that. But if you have a family or whatever, it leads to like divorces and psychosis and bad things.
So how many Mars divorces has there been?
I can't give you a precise number on that. but I can tell you it's not zero.
Okay. But it's about a 24-hour day. And Mars is tipped on its axis, about the same degrees that we're tipped on our axis. So Mars has seasons. That is the cause of the seasons, by the way. It's not because we get closer to the sun or farther. I'm just saying. Okay?
Wow.
Someone's got
I didn't know it offhand, but I didn't know how much he thought they didn't know it.
No, right. So you can think this through because you knew that the southern hemisphere has opposite seasons to us. And if Earth were closer to the sun one time of year than another, if that's what made summer, then all of Earth would have summer at the same time, and we don't. So our distance to the sun can have nothing to do with the origin.
It's all
of the
about the
season.
axis.
But on Mars, distance to the sun changes the season because Mars has a non-circular orbit, and southern summer on Mars is a lot hotter than northern summer because Mars is weird in that way. So it's a combination of the two on Mars.
Why don't you guys just? Oh,
Do you mind?
I forgot.
Do you mind we're talking? No.
Sorry. I keep forgetting.
Wait, Neil, what were your favorite things about Mars?
Oh, no, I like the ice caps. It rotates about the same. It's got seasons. It's red. That's just cool. It's just cool.
Basically, it reminds you of Australia.
It's just, I'm not surprised that it has been sort of with us in our culture and in our lore for so long. Something we'll talk about in the next
Before
segment.
we even knew any of that stuff, we could see that it was this red planet that had this weird path in the sky, and it made people think of the god of war and all this stuff, and it's definitely been under our skin for a long time.
So Mars,
And now it's one of those razor blades for ladies. You know?
That's
That's
Venus.
Venus. I tried so hard, it didn't work.
Half a point for effort.
so Jim, what we need is a razor blade.
It was
called
pretty
men.
good effort,
I mean,
though.
for Mars, for men. That's what we need. So one thing, Sarah, you had mentioned your resonance with Percival Lowell. Yeah, he thought he saw canals on Mars. That's the famous Martian canals.
But wait, let me ask what will probably be. Well, no, there's no. But let's not judge it before it happens. Needs more
We'll translate that sentence
and
later.
go.
Yes.
You said there's not polar caps.
Yeah, ice
but
cap.
with no water.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
Just
Where's the water?
frozen
Yeah,
land or dry?
we used to think back in the days of your buddy Percival, we used to think the polar caps were water, which is kind of makes sense because that's what polar caps are made out of. But turns out Mars is really cold and they're dry ice. It's frozen CO2. There's a little bit of water there, but it's mostly dry ice. So there's
Dry ice.
You could have like a pretty cool party.
exactly. You could. Yeah,
You could
fog
do some
machine, ice cream.
sculptures
Yeah,
in some of the ice. You could do like a bird and a sculpture.
totally.
You are not convinced.
Okay, so the Phoenix lander went to the ice caps, right?
It went pretty close. Yeah, it went to the edge. So we had one lander that we actually sent right up to the edge and found ice in the soil, which was really cool.
What,
because-
water ice in the soil?
Yeah,
rather than
exactly. Yeah.
CO2.
So there is
You don't
water
go to the ice
kind of-
cap and say, "Oh, we found ice cap." I mean,
Yeah.
that's what
Wait, is
you
there
said.
still water on Mars?
There's frozen water just underneath the soil in the high latitude
But
places.
no regular water?
There may
Watery
be.
water, wetty water?
There may be.
To be scientific.
liquid
Can I
water?
get a club soda there?
Ooh.
Hey,
They
wait,
have
club
cool
soda.
water.
Wait, Jim. Wait, if you have the water and you have the CO2,
Yeah.
you can make club soda.
You could.
Jim is right. Jim.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Now can I be on NPR?
All you need is hops and you can make beer. Yeah.
Mars is full of beer. Mars is a college party.
All right, so why do they go with the boundary? What do they care? I mean, the Mars caps shrink and grow depending on winter or summer.
Yeah, they
right?
shrink and grow, and there's a whole history there of climate change on Mars in the layers in the caps. So by trying to investigate that stratigraphy, we can learn about the long-term climate history, and just getting to that water ice was a
Hey,
big
when you
deal.
say stratigraphy,
Yeah,
what do you mean?
layers. I mean layers.
Can I?
Great.
Yeah.
Layers.
That's what I was
equals
curious about.
stratigraphy.
But it sounds more sciencey if I say stratigraphy.
No one is denying that.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
It sounds
Yeah.
a little too much like strategery, you know?
Yeah.
Stratigraphy.
Yeah.
That's your geology side coming out in you.
It's true.
Ah.
It's true. You caught me.
You guys have words that don't belong anywhere in this universe.
Except for geology.
Yeah. They belong at geology meetings, but that's probably about it.
Can I ask you something? Mars is red. How do we know that's not all blood?
Well, it is.
Wait, let me take this one. Wait, let me take this one.
Go for it.
Jim? Mars, and correct me if I'm wrong. Jim? Yes. Mars is red for the same reason your blood is.
Right. It's cool.
Yeah, it's
Because
iron.
it's American.
It's American. Yeah, it's rust, essentially, just like your blood is red because it's like oxidized iron.
Yeah, hemoglobin, heme group is
I'm not
iron
going to be
oxide.
tested on this later.
Same thing as on Mars, yeah.
So, when are we sending people?
You're just making.
When are we sending people? When do you want to?
Now.
I mean,
Now.
Yeah.
understand that word?
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Now.
It depends what you mean by we. If you mean by we, the
China.
NASA.
By we, I mean China.
If you mean China, then all bets are off. If you mean NASA, don't hold your breath. It's gonna be decades. But
Because literally that would mean about 7 minutes or so. Like the time someone could hold their. Anyway, it's
Yeah.
actually pretty clever, but not a good hit.
But it may not be NASA. There are these private companies now that are talking about trying to about trying to go.
Let
So-
the radio audience know that Eugene was
I
trying
fake held my breath.
He held his breath for 15 seconds and his face turned beet red.
As an actor, I can make blood go to my anyway face.
emulating Mars.
So so no time soon.
Well, no time soon for NASA. You know, some of these Silicon Valley zillionaires are talking about mounting their own missions, and there are other countries getting in the game. People are talking about a new space race. It's hard to predict the future. In the 1950s, you read science fiction, and people talked about first going to the moon in the 90s, and then there was a push for it. So if we decided we wanted to, or somebody decided they wanted to, we could be there in a decade. But I don't see NASA doing that anytime real soon.
What if the 5 of us agree? Do you think that would be enough? Or
Yeah.
would we need more?
How much do you need? You know,
It depends. Are you
I can
independently
throw
wealthy?
in like $5.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the right number of people, do you think, for such a mission? And how about the sex ratio? And is it celibate people for 3 years, or you expect?
How often are they gonna have sex?
Right.
Yeah. When we send people there, will they be having sex?
Well,
I'm just wondering.
Damn it.
And then and the mission will be long enough because it's a year there. You got to hang out there because the orbital alignment of Earth and Mars requires you wait another couple of years until the configuration will serve your trip back. So the total round trip is 3-4 years, right?
Yeah.
So you could have babies on Mars.
Absolutely. But, you know, the radiation could be a problem with the having babies thing. So
But they could also stay inside the ship.
I'm not sure. No, inside the ship doesn't help you. Inside
Really?
the ship could be even worse radiation-wise because a little bit of shielding makes it worse because the radiation comes in and splatters the atoms apart and makes neutrons, and it's actually worse to have a little bit of
Wait, when you
shielding.
say we could send somebody there in 10 years, do you mean to die right away?
Basically.
We could send somebody there and they would have about 4 hours.
No.
And I hope they have sex during that time because they're about to die.
Yeah. No, that's
And their dead sex bodies will
That's
come
one of the
back
major
to us.
motivations for our. That's one of the major motivations for our RAD instrument on Curiosity. We want to know how deep you have to build your shelter, so when there's a solar storm, you get in it, so you don't just all get cancer.
Okay, so there's the ambient radiation, and then there's the extra dose you get during a solar flare that was aimed your way.
Right.
So how long could a person live possibly in a shuttle on Mars? Like a day, a week, a year?
Well, we're trying to figure that out. For perspective, a year on Mars, just hanging out on the surface in a normal year would be like get like 100 missions to the moon and back. Now the
In
astronauts
radiation
did fine
dose.
in radiation
Yeah.
dose.
I both knew that and don't know that amount, but I understand.
It would be like getting 100 chest X-rays, which maybe doesn't sound that
sometimes
bad.
you need that.
It certainly sounds
But-
time-consuming.
Yeah. But 10 years on Mars might kill you unless we figure out how to make a shelter. Now, you probably could make a shelter just by going underground, but
Yeah.
we're still working that problem.
Okay.
In fact, most
What if it was a really good 10 years, though? You know?
Well, exactly. The interesting thing is people have proposed one-way missions, and there have been lots of volunteers. In other words, would you...
what's the point of a one-way mission?
To boldly go.
So just to boldly die,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
No, but why? Why not?
People
come
would
back?
write songs about you.
Oh, well, okay, a one-way mission because it's more feasible. It's cheaper. And it's hard to bring someone back. Actually, we can't even bring rocks back. We tried these sample return missions. We tried to design them to land something, and then you have to bring another spacecraft, fuel it, and then launch it. It's technically a lot harder.
If I'm going to Mars, I'll want you to do that.
Has Donald
You wanna
Trump
come back?
volunteered?
Yeah.
See, I would too. But the interesting thing is, it's been proposed, what if we could do a one-way mission, and there have been lots of volunteers. And we're not talking just crazy people.
Like
You're talking
Real
extra
Housewives.
crazy people. Yeah, I want to die at Mars.
Would you do it?
No. I get enough excitement on my morning
Would you go to Mars and die there while having sex?
No, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't.
No.
I'm going to now name locations that you can fly to and have sex. You tell me where you... No.
What if we throw in a hotel? Yeah.
Philadelphia.
You talking one way?
I am talking one way, that's true.
Nah, I'd have to think
No,
about
you know what? It's runway, but you don't get the ticket till you get to the other side, and then they.
All I'm
Ooh,
saying,
messed with the crowd.
I know. I'm sorry, everyone.
it doesn't cost 10 times as much to bring you back, maybe 2 or 3 times as much. Anybody who's got $10 has $30. You got 100, you have 300. You have $1 million, you have 3 million.
Well,
it's a
it's funny.
factor of a few.
It magnifies, though, because you have to bring the return vehicle and you have to bring the fuel
So
and the
do that.
complexity.
Or make your fuel when you get there. Live in the future. Have filling stations en route. This is the future we all thought we'd be in already. And you're telling me I gotta haul it with me? Get you started?
Land on an asteroid. Dig in and eat it. I thought I could already be eating asteroids. Get on it, science.
And on that note, thanks for joining us for StarTalk Live.